Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and this is a new purchase I made over the winter here. My wife and I were looking for one of these camper trailers, and originally I was thinking about building one, but I didn't want to put her through a year and a half of me trying to get this done, so I went ahead and bought a used one. This is about a 7-year-old camper trailer. It was built by a custom builder for the original owner, and it was in decent shape, but I got it for a good deal because it does need a bit of work. We're going to be doing a few videos on this on my channel coming up. We're going to do something about the exterior. We're going to have to fix and revamp the interior. So the purpose of this video is to upgrade and revamp the entire electrical system. Not only fix the existing problems, but build a robust electric system that can handle a variety of camping situations to where we can tie into plug-in grid power or solar power. So stay tuned to see how I do it. Okay, so I cleaned out the toolbox here on our camper, and let me show you what that looks like. And here it is. But I think the OEM had this wiring here. We've got a couple circuits, 12-volt circuits here, positive, negatives. This one was added in, and it looks like it ties into the aux, maybe on this 7-pin plug. This is a ridiculous hack jobby thing, just a bunch of silicone, this extension cord, this hole, and as you can see, they just really crap job here, and it goes under this and over to there. All that's gonna be torn out, and I'll plug that hole. Just a total hack job there. So the batteries went across here, and there's two wired in parallel to make a 12-volt, I think it was 130 amp hour deep cycle battery. There's two 65 amp hour batteries. Now that you've seen the space in that truck box and all the stuff that came out of it, here's what we're going to try to do to replace all that. All this is going to go back into there. What we have here is basically a couple batteries here, but instead of being lead acid 12-volt batteries like the old ones, these are lithium iron phosphate deep cycle replacement packs. And the reason I got these is because these can take power from various sources, and they have a huge BMS built into them so that you don't overcharge the packs, but yet we can charge them with dumb power sources like a solar power controller. And we have a little more capacity than what we did before because these are 12.8 volts nominal and 100 amp hours a piece with 100 amp BMS. So these two in parallel will make us a 12.8 volt, 200 amp hour pack. Now these devices here are all kind of divided into kind of two categories. We have on-grid or plugged in setup, and then we have the rest of this is all the off-grid stuff, meaning we're running completely off the batteries and using solar power to recharge the batteries because we have to supply our own power. So what we've got here is on the off-grid type setup, I'm going to have this type of flange thing that's going to be in the side of the truck bed, and what this little plug-in is, I'm going to be able to plug in the power wires for my solar panels into this thing from the outside of the trailer, so I can set up this folding solar array, which I'll show you later, and that supplies 200 watts of power into this inlet here. From there, it goes into this charge controller. Now this is called the Renogy Wanderer, and notice that I selected this one specifically because the next upgrade to this, I think it's called the Adventure or something, has an actual LCD display which shows you like how your panels are performing and what kind of charging is going into it, which is really nice to have, but this one doesn't have it. And the reason I got this cheaper one is because it has a little outlet in there, and you can buy this add-on product here, which is a Bluetooth adapter. So I'll have this one in here, so I will be able to see the charge, how the charge is working with my phone, which will be a lot easier than having to open that box up and check it constantly. Then I have this. Now this is the only thing I did not have to buy. This actually came with the camper unit. I took it out of there. And this is a 3,000 watt inverter, and you input 12 volts through these 4 terminals here, and then you can output 15 amps of AC in these 3 different receptacles here. Each have their own fuses, and they look like they're no more than 15 amps. I only plan on using one of these receptacles, this 15 amp receptacle. This is larger than I need, but still this will work, and so I'm going to use it. So that's really the off-grid setup. I've also got some direct 12 volt wiring. There's some like the fan and a dome light in the trailer that run right off 12 volts. So I'll also be wiring up a little, probably a little fuse panel here, which is better than what they had before. They had just a couple glass fuses. I'll wire up a fuse panel, and we'll have those couple circuits running off fuses off this to power some direct DC devices. So for the on-grid setup, it starts with this. We'll have this little inlet here. This is a 15 amp inlet. This will be sticking out the side of the truck box there. And if we're camping in a place that has an actual power plug-in, an extension cord, I'll plug it into here. And then what'll happen is then will be kind of the on-grid setup. So I've got this switch here. And the way this is going to work is this switch is rated at 20 amps at like 600 volts, so it can definitely handle any type of voltage we need. But it's a 3-terminal switch, so we can, on the off position, there'll be no power. On the one position, I might put a little label that says on grid or grid. The output of this switch will go to my camper wiring for the AC power. So that'll go to the inside the camper. But the input of this switch, if it's on grid, it's going to be this. It's going to tie to this. So when I'm plugged in and I've got the switch on the grid, then this just forwards right into the camper as my AC power. It will also split to this charger here. Now this is a smart lithium iron phosphate battery charger. It has a 10 amp output, but it only requires 5 amps on the input. And this will simultaneously top off and maintain the charge on these batteries when we're plugged in. Now, when we are not plugged in, what I will do is I'll switch it over to our off-grid. On the off-grid setup, the input to this switch will be from our inverter. So our inverter will be what powers our AC wiring on the off-grid setup. So that's how it's all going to work. And so we're able to handle anything from grid power, no grid power, and our 12 volt power all will be available. So let's see how we're going to integrate this into that truck box. All right, just a quick update on here. I got some work done here, just cleaned it all out real well. I plugged up my hole here, that big old hole. I had to widen it out. Actually, what I did was, for a large hole like that, I put an electrical knockout seal in there, and I pounded those wings down flat, and I just coated it with automotive seam sealer, both the top and the bottom. So that's all fixed, and some other plugs and stuff in there. All cleaned out, ready to go. In the flooring section of the home improvement store, this is in the carpeting section, you can get this rubberized commercial runner mat for your floor. It's real thin stuff, but it'll make a nice decoupling mat that I'll set the batteries and components on. And then I also cut a piece of 1/2-inch plywood there. It's a 4 by whatever, 10.5 inches, I guess. And that will line this back wall so that we can hang all of our components off that. And we can just drill into that. And then finally, I got my outlets all drilled and installed in the side here. And so we are ready to go for all the component installation. So I'll bring it back in when I get that done. All right, well, we finally have a sunny day, so I can show off the setup for you. And I apologize in advance for the wind noise, but it's either wind or rain, so I got to pick one or the two. So let's check out what I did. All right, well, here it is. There's the layout right here. Sorry, I try to get it out of the shadow here. All that stuff I managed to fit in there, and the inverter is on the floor there. So let's start with the batteries. Okay, so for the batteries, I got a couple angle brackets and I screwed them to the bottom there and there. I fashioned this aluminum strap by screwing it to the back of the wooden wall there. Of course, there's my wood is screwed in there. And then what I did was, on the floor here, I removed a self-tapping screw, and instead what I did was I mounted a riv nut in there. I drilled it out and mounted a riv nut. Now that riv nut also attaches to the main frame. So that makes it nice and secure, so I can just screw my strap in, my battery strap, and that holds everything from shifting, and they're nice and tight in there. I also doubled that as a chassis ground, although the existing circuits that are in there for the 12 volt have their own grounds. I went ahead and just tied a chassis ground in case I needed it. So before making these parallel connections, what I suggest you do is take the voltage reading of each battery and make sure they're within 1/10 of the volt of each other. The reason I did that is because if one battery was much lower in voltage than the other one, like they're just charged very differently, the moment you put these straps together, you're going to cause current to rush from the full battery to the empty battery, and it could be a little bit dangerous. The main wiring from the battery, both the negative and the positive, go to these distribution blocks, which consist of 4 3/8" copper bolts that you can bolt your wiring onto. So for the 12 volt wiring, of course, I have that panel right there, and that panel is going to one of the bolts on there and to the negative bolt for all the negative wires that go into the car. So those are the two circuits for the 12 volt, and then all the other cables are mainly going to the inverter. For some reason, the inverter has 2 different sides to it. I wired them both, even though I'm probably going to only use about 1,500 watts out of this thing. And on all those terminals on the battery, I use this antioxidant compound, and that'll prevent all that oxidation of the copper terminals. Of course, from the AC side, it's going into there. I just used that existing extension cord because it had really nice 14 gauge stranded copper wiring, so I went ahead and leveraged that. That initially goes into this box that I have, that splits between the battery charger right there, which I was able to hang on the wall by making these little brackets and tying them into the K screws. And then it splits into this switch here, which when we pull it to 1, that will light up this outlet. So the output of this switch is just this 15 amp GFI outlet. Now you see that yellow extension cord plugged in is the one that goes into the camper and feeds that power strip that I'll show you in a minute. I always put any high voltage wiring inside boxes, and any connections to the wires or splits on the wires are made with crimp-on nuts or solder. Now, of course, the solar panel setup is here. We've got our positive, negatives going into our solar charge controller on the panel side. And then on the battery side, we've got those 2 wires going to the different distribution blocks here. So that's the entire configuration of the solar charge controller. Really all I had to do was run those wires. Then I had to hold this button down for 10 seconds until this light started blinking, and then I set the correct battery chemistry type to the blue, which is the lithium ion. And of course, my Bluetooth module, I went ahead and secured over there. I downloaded the Renogy app, and I can see the charging from my phone. Okay, so the first test we're going to do is just go inside the trailer and just make sure that the 12 volt wiring that we had, those little fuses on, everything is working as it should. And so let's go in here, and sorry it's a little bit dark, but we'll test out what we've got inside the trailer. And what we do have inside the trailer is a couple of fixtures, 12 volt fixtures. We have a dome light. That works. We have a metal fan. And that works. And we have a double light on the back wall here. 1, 2. Nice. And I think what's happening here, there's these other 2 wires here, and I think maybe that's the second DC circuit. And the first DC circuit is all 3 of these, where the wire's probably going through the ceiling. That's my guess. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but I might use it for something. So that little outlet here in the floor is connected to that yellow extension cord that I showed you plugged into our output of either our grid tie or our solar tie inverter AC power. So right now that's off, but let's test the grid side of it out. All right, let's test the grid tie part. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my extension cord from my workshop into our inlet here. So after a few seconds, we can see that, it's hard to tell in the camera, but we have a solid red light there. And so we are charging our batteries right now. Now, in order to forward the power from our inlet into our 15 amp GFI outlet here to go into our car with this yellow extension cord, I'm going to flip it to 1. And as you can see, my work light that's plugged in to the outlet is functioning, so we have power being forwarded in. Cool. Okay, so I removed my plug. Let's just test to see whether our AC power is working and our inverter is working here. So the switch to the inverter is on a side that I can't really see very well. There's this remote panel you can install to turn it on, so I'm just going to hit that. And that should turn this little LED light on. So once we start up the inverter, we need to flip our transfer switch over to the other side, and that will forward the power coming out of the inverter into there. Let's check it in the inside. And it is working. You might notice, but my LED flashlight is flickering. There are certain devices that don't take well to that modified sine wave AC power that comes out of those inverters. LED devices like that are probably susceptible to issues with that. We're planning on using this for like simple things like maybe a little portable coffee maker, maybe a fan, computer power supplies, chargers, stuff like that, which should have no problem using this modified sine wave output. So the final test I want to do is on our solar panels and the plug in here and the charge controller and seeing if all that works. So let's get that set up. Okay, so for the output of the solar panel, I did add one change to it. The panel wiring ends with these connectors right here. I believe these are called MK4 connectors. So in order to adapt it to our inlet, I had to get this extension wire right here, which is this black thing, which has MK4 connections on this side, and then it has this plug here. I think it was called SAE. So I don't know if there's a standard to any of this stuff, but what I did was I made sure red went to this side of the plug right here, the exposed side, and then the black went to the other side, and that correlates to the wiring I have on the inlet. All right, so let's go ahead and plug this in, and then we'll check out the charge. Now we can see the little light for our panel is blinking. So it looks like we're getting something out of those panels. Let's go check it out. All right, so I opened up the Renogy app here, and you can see that it shows that I am charging at 84 watts. And if I click on my specific device here, it shows you the details. And as you can see, it's showing solar voltage of 13.4 volts and a charging amperage of 6.29 amps. And you can see there it shows you my battery voltage of 13.4. And I'm basically almost fully charged on this battery, so everything's looking good. Well, there we have it. We have accomplished what we set out to do with this video. We've got a robust electrical setup in here that all works. Again, links to all the products are in the video description, so make sure you click on those. Also, again, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because we are going to be putting out more videos on this camper trailer. Like I said, we've got to revamp the outside and the interior to get ready for our upcoming camping trips in the summer. So stay tuned, and I'll talk to you on the next video.